releasing They F You Up by Oliver James. I emphasise the F because it is a little bit of a naughty word there, but it's got stars, so it's okay.
It's from a poem,
It's
so
okay.
it's artistic and culture, you know?
Yes. So although the title is a little controversial,
risque.
It's a very interesting book. It's a serious book, all about... Mary, do you want to explain?
Sure. It's about how you're raised by your family and how that affects the rest of your life. So it's kind of the nature versus nurture discussion, and it falls, according to the book, entirely almost on nurture.
Nurture, yeah.
So it's all, Oliver James is the author, and he looks at case studies and his own personal history and scientific backgrounds and everything, and explains why it's entirely down to what your parents do that makes you the person you are, all your flaws and everything. And he wants you to look inside yourself, and he kind of gives you quizzes and things to do at the end of every chapter.
I think it does actually make you... I mean, I don't necessarily think it's always good to spend your entire time analysing yourself, but it's definitely food for thought. Like, you think, you know, what did happen in the first 6 years of my life that makes me the weird person that I am? Like, why am I such a weirdo?
Self-analysis is always a good thing, I think. So
he is just a selfish brat.
It's the blame thing, isn't it? It's just blaming everyone else.
It makes your own mistakes. It's not your parents' fault if you screw up in life.
But it's not really about mistakes. It's about, you know, everything you do in life and all the choices you make. And he is a psychologist, and he does do a lot of scientific research in this. But I do think he came into it already having his mind made up. So, I mean, there are a couple of times where I was reading it and I'm like, okay, but you've kind of ignored this aspect of the study, or you're not looking at, you know, other possible scenarios and solutions. But I think a lot of it is quite sound. It's just, he obviously knew from the beginning what he wanted to say.
Yeah, it's some of the you know, messing around and stuff, but you know, some of the scientific studies he's looked up and stuff are interesting, but there's so many variables the whole way through the book. I don't think it comes to necessarily a conclusion. I don't think it offers solutions. And as for the little quizzes and the stuff, I write self-help. That's my passion. That's what I teach. I love it. He needs to work out whether he wants to do the academia side and talk about the theses, the self-help side. There's too much blaming there. It's just too mixed up. I think that could be 3 books. And I don't think at the end you come out knowing yourself any better or having any fundamental results. He just has a good old moan, as you said.
See, I don't agree. I think it's disingenuous to say that that it's all him having a moan. I mean, I don't think that's true. I think there are times where he does get a bit self-indulgent in that respect. But he makes a point several times of saying, this is not about blaming your parents. This is not about looking at the problems in your life and saying, you know, removing your own agency and saying it was all them. This is about knowing yourself more through that to make better decisions in the future.
Do you know what? My interpretation of it is that a lot of parents, they bring you into the world and they bring you up. Sometimes they're a bit strict, sometimes they're not. Maybe they're liberal with you in some ways as you're growing up, and all these things affect like your attitudes towards lots of things in your life as you're an adult. He's not saying blame the parents, it's just you know, you can't control...
It's just to know yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just to understand that, you know, parents don't know what they're doing. Like, whatever they do, it does affect you. But you shouldn't blame them.
You've said that in a paragraph. He's made a whole book out of that exact paragraph. I don't think he needed to.
Basically, the point of the story is, you know, you're going to mess them up no matter what. Have a good time.
Just chill out. I think try and be balanced, whatever your interpretation of balanced is. All a parent can do is do their best. God knows how the child's going to end up, but hopefully you've done the best you can do.
You've done your best. I think that's the important thing. As long as you do the best that you can do, that's, I think, all anyone
But maybe
can
that
ask.
book kind of makes you think a little bit, maybe being a bit more conscientious about being a parent.
Not really.
Maybe a bit.
What does make you think more?
So not these stupid books.
So would you rate this out of 10?
Twilight.
I would give it a 2.
Okay.
I would give it 5.5 or 6. For some reason I always do halves. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it annoyed me at times, and I do think he ignored some things that would have changed his conclusion. But it was interesting and worth thinking about.
Give it a 3. Hopefully people that read it kind of get some of your interpretation, because that was quite
Maybe
nice.
I just made it up. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. It's okay if other people do as well. 3.
I think I'll give it a 7. I actually enjoyed analysing myself quite a bit. I was in that mood. So anyway, that's the end of this week's Loaded Chick Lit. Join us next week.